Hello and welcome to NJ Biz Conversations. I'm your host, Jeff Kanige. My guest today is His Honor, the Mayor of Camden, Victor Carstarphen. Mr. Mayor, welcome.
Thank you. Good to be here, Jeff.
Thanks for taking the time to do it. I appreciate it. And I'm especially interested in talking to you because as NJ Biz readers and our viewers will know, we've extensively covered a lot of what's been going on in Camden. There's a lot of activity, a lot of economic activity, a lot of redevelopment. And so I'm interested in getting some firsthand, your firsthand experiences with what's going on down there. And I wanted to start by asking what you think when you see what's going on. As you know, when economic development comes to older cities, very often residents can feel left behind. Longtime residents can feel left behind. I'm curious if you're concerned about that, and if so, how do you keep that from happening?
Well, I see a lot of transformation that's been happening in our community that brings our community together. The investments we've had in our parks, I think over $100 million invested in the parks, brings about families, brings about our children. Investments that we made in paving our roads is something that during my tenure, Jeff, that our residents have asked for. Mayor,
Okay.
could you repave our roads are bad? Could you help us out? We paved over 300 roads, and it's building morale with our community. People see that. They come out and always talk about building trust, confidence in community, working with our small business community, creating environments, through our buy Camden First, which allows our small business community to work with our corporate partners in our community. Again, bridging the gap, creating opportunities for small business and community. I have a saying, Jeff, that I always talk about, and people always mention the city of Camden, their waterfront,
Okay.
the downtown area. And I always say, your core of the body has to be strong, the belly. If our head is strong and our belly, which is our community, is not strong, there is no body. And my tenure, I've worked on strengthening up our community, affordable housing projects, just building our business corridor main thorough ways, Haddon Avenue project, Mount Ephraim Avenue project, different spaces within our community. So we're pulling together. This is, everyone's involved. I want community to feel a part of the growth that's happening in this. I'm a big community guy, Jeff. I'm really involved with our community, and we're just working. It's just driven by total engagement, and I push that with a lot of our corporate, entities, nonprofits, being engaged in community.
All right.
And I can go on about our community policing and
No, yeah,
everything.
and I want you to do that. So I just also should mention, I meant to say it at the top, that you were born and raised in Camden, and you've been involved in the city for a long time. That's why you have this perspective. And what I hear you saying is something that I hear from your peers around the state too, and that is that yes, you one of your roles is to encourage development, to get corporations, to get businesses into the city, to create jobs, to make sure that the city is a livable, workable place. At the same time, though, you do have to be engaged with the community, and that's where the mayor and the administration comes in to make sure that those people are not forgotten. Am I basically getting your role and the way you see it?
Absolutely, it's very important, and it's very important for me whenever I'm in any space, whether it's with our kids, our students, whether it's with our seniors, whether it's with families. It's important for me that they understand that the support is here.
Okay.
That I'm 100% in with trying to solve problems, try to encourage, empower our community, and let them know that their mayor has got their back.
Okay. All right. I'm wondering, and then also, is there a model or an example you've seen from either in New Jersey or somewhere around anywhere around the country that you think is worth following, or is this something that's just really has to be specific to individual cities?
Well, you know your city, and if you understand your city, you understand the dynamics of what has to make your city go. I mean, where investments make sense, because people see results. I'm about tangible things. I'm about individuals being able to see, feel, touch improvement, see a new park, see a new road, see development that's happening. I always say every press conference that I'm in that's talking about whether it's the Walter Rand Transportation Center that we're rebuilding, a $250 million project, whether it's the proposed Beacon Tower that's going to be built, whether it's Cooper's $3 billion expansion. I always tell our residents and our corporate partners and our nonprofits, that's a reflection of you all. It's
Okay.
not about me. It's a reflection of everyone in their lanes working together and just trying to raise the bar in our city. And it's important that, people say, Mayor, you're the biggest cheerleader for the city. You're everywhere. I see you all over in the city. And I said, listen, we all have one time to be in the spaces that we're in to make an impact. We better maximize it. My space is the mayor. I have to maximize my time here to make the best Camden it can be.
Okay. Now you mentioned Cooper, and that's where I wanted to go next, was to talk about some of the anchor institutions in the city. Obviously, Cooper University Healthcare, Rutgers University are probably two of the most well-known. You mentioned the $3 billion expansion from Cooper. How important are those institutions to what you're trying to do in the city and what the city needs?
Well, I mean, Cooper's their expansion is it's a breakthrough expansion. It's going to be monumental when it comes to employment. Cooper is one of our biggest employers of the city of Camden residents. When you're talking about just more private beds, inpatient beds, the proximity that Cooper's with MD Anderson, it's always been an anchor of our community, and in particular with our residents and opportunities to work. We have Coriel when we just talk about eds and meds. Coriel's campus, they're moving their campus and building a new campus within our community. Coriel is one of the biggest life science medical research centers on the East Coast in the country. And that's another big part of our eds and meds. You're talking about Rutgers, Rowan, Rutgers Camden, or Rowan,
Right.
Camden County. All those collaborations are attracting top tier academics that are fueling research, that are fueling different things within our community, which anchors economic development.
Right, exactly. Okay, well, that makes perfect sense. Let's move on to the corporate world. I'd like to talk first about a couple of companies that have longstanding ties to Camden. Campbell's and American Water. Campbell went through a sort of a tough stretch, but seems to have gotten their footing again. Again, what's your relationship with companies like that, of that size, and how important is for those two in particular, which are well-known names, iconic names in New Jersey at least, and for Campbell's really around the world. How important are they to the redevelopment of the city?
It's incredibly important. Our relationship is really good. Again, I charge all of our corporate partners. First of all, Campbell's been here 155 years.
Right.
Campbell is stuck with Camden throughout good times, bad times, ups and downs, and never left the city. Generations of individuals have worked at Campbell Soup from the city of Camden. I charge a lot of our corporate entities and leadership there to be engaged, be involved in our community. I have something called the Camden Strong Community Cleanup that I've done for 5 years now, where I move across the city from the spring, summer, and the fall. Our corporate leaderships are very much involved in coming out to the community, walking with our community. I've had the CEOs from all of these organizations come out, employees come out, volunteer to feel the community and not just work here. And they're all in, they're all in, and they always raise their hand and say, I feel like I'm a coach. Coach, put me in. Coach, whatever I have to do to help impact, let me know, the city of Camden, because I call it Team Camden for a reason. My teammates, however we have to do, whatever we have to do to get wins for our community, we're working hard to get there.
Okay, and that's what I was getting at, is that these companies, it seems to me, need to be more than just a building with a sign on it. They have to be, as you're putting it, involved and actually of the community and part of the community. Yes.
Oh, it's important. It's really important, and I stick with that. Whenever I'm speaking, whenever I'm having meetings, I talk about the importance of being in the community. It builds trust, it builds confidence in residents, it builds morale in the community. And I'm big on just the overall morale and everybody feeling wanting to be a part of growth. Community is about being a part of. Community wants to feel a part of the growth. And you have to work your behind off to get that feeling and have that type of relationship.
Okay, and a couple of more recent arrivals. Subaru and the Philadelphia 76ers. You're a well-known basketball player in your day. Maybe still are. I haven't seen you play, but I imagine that you do have some skills and they haven't gone away. Having the Sixers, and that must be for you personally must be an interesting development, but also to attract those kinds of names. Again, well-known names to the city. That must, I'm guessing, give you something to sort of pro about. Say, look, even these people are coming here.
Without a doubt, I think our corporate partnerships, we have a unique scenario with corporations here in a city of our size, and I'm very proud of. I'm very proud of our working relationship, public-private partnerships that we've had. The Sixers have been outstanding in their partnership with community. Their youth foundation has been dynamic in parks. They've built new basketball courts. They like again, the leadership there is always, hey, what can we do to keep helping and improving? And that's the mentality that I like, the teamwork mentality. I preach it. No egos. No egos about how we get better in the city. No egos about what Subaru is doing, what the Sixers are doing, what Campbell's is doing, what American Wood is doing. We're just working hard to make a difference. And I'm very proud of that. I got a running joke about the Sixers, Jeff. They say, why did you become mayor? I says, I always wanted to get into the Sixers practice facility. I figured this would be the quickest way.
Well, good luck for that. I'm glad you got it there. All right, you mentioned some of the cultural aspects. Again, when in talking to your peers around the state, they consider, a lot of them consider that vitally important to their cities. You have the waterfront, you have the aquarium, the battleship, the 76ers to a certain extent. I mean, that's a sort of a cultural institution as well. How important are they? You mentioned it, and I've seen you've written about it. What do you do to encourage that kind of development, which can be just as important as building factories or office buildings or apartment buildings?
Well, I always feel like when you're telling a story, you got to know where you come from, who was involved with the building of where you came from, and where you're going at, and the history of having attractions like the battleship, the history of having the Venture Aquarium here. It's all rooted in Camden's comeback. It's all rooted there. It's all rooted in collaboration. It's all rooted in innovation, and all of that is rooted in the community. So when you're talking to potentials, you also talk about the financial stable outlook that we have in the city of Camden. Now, this is our second straight year with S&P being graded at a rating. You know, we've been building years to get to that point to show possible investors, people that, you know, we're trustworthy, we're creditworthy, we've been doing the right things and putting together the right processes financially to be looked at as a viable community. I think we're right there as far as housing development, with all of the things that we've done, infrastructure-wise, building around the different projects that we have. I think we're right there moving forward. We have great affordable housing projects that's going on. We have projects, you know, that are down the line that's going to be mixed use, workforce development. I mean, you have to figure we have so many people coming into the city of Camden working every day, you know, and I want them to stay here, live here. I want them to work here. I want them to play here and enjoy themselves, you know, and that's the vision.
Okay. I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you about one of your city's most prominent residents or former residents. That's George Norcross. He's been a booster of the city. He's been intimately involved with Cooper University Healthcare. His firm, Connor Buckaloo and Strong, is a prominent corporate citizen. He's pulled back a little bit from day-to-day politics, but how important is he? It seems like he still must be a fairly important person in the city of Camden, and given his history in the city and what he's done for the city.
I would say George has been one of the single most in 40 years you talk about cheerleaders for the city of Camden, wanting the city of Camden and wanting Cooper University Healthcare to be the best. It's been him. You know, he's been spearheading just, you know, Camden. Camden, we got to be better. Camden, he's been a cheerleader for many. I talk about my 3 C's all the time. And one of the things he's exhibited over 40 years is the care he's had for Camden, the commitment he's had for the city of Camden, and the consistency over the 40 years. And that ain't easy.
Right. Okay. All right. Just a little bit more on politics. We have a gubernatorial election coming up this year for an open seat. There was a lot of stuff coming out of Washington that folks in your position are having to deal with. Have you heard? Just start with within the state from the two major party candidates. Have you heard anything that either encourages you or concerns you about what their approach is going to be to urban areas like Camden?
Well, my biggest thing is just having good partnerships in the past. We've had a good partnership with Governor Murphy,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and Camden's an urban community, you know, and we have urban challenges. And, you know, certain funding is essential, you know, for programming for our children, programs for our seniors. So just creating a good partnership, you know, I've gotten a chance to, you know, just from afar, see Congresswoman Cheryl and some of the things she's done, you know, and we look like we have a fight on our hands in November. I think the city of Camden and myself, you know, we're looking forward to standing in that fight and, you know, continue moving forward. So a lot going on in our country, Jeff. You know, I'm a big control what you can control guy.
Okay.
You know, I preach that in my meetings every day. I preach that with my department heads. I preach that with my nonprofits. Let's concentrate on what we can control and the resources and things like that. We'll work that out. I said, we have a lot of good collaborative partners here in the city. Let's be creative. Let's be a little bit more innovative on how we can utilize those partnerships to fill in some gaps that may need to be filled in, to bridge those gaps in certain programming and certain different initiatives that we've ran in the past. And I'm confident, you know, with the makeup of our community that we'll continue pushing forward and continue raising the bar in the city of Camden and making a difference, impacting youth, empowering residents, housing growth. I'm really confident with our makeup of different entities that will continue moving forward in a positive way.
Okay, and you're confident of that, even given what, you know, something you obviously can't control, and that is the fire hose of stuff that's coming out of Washington right now.
No, it's a lot, and you know, my job is to keep morale up around here, and keep that energy going, and keep everybody, you know, understanding what the mission is, the task is, and what you're doing in your space, nonprofit, education, all the different spaces you're in. My job is to let you know we're going to push through. We're going to figure it out. We're going to make an impact. So a 10-year-old, 20 years from now, is going to say, I grew up in a great environment where people cared and made a difference.
Okay. So given all that we've talked about, if you were talking to a business owner or a corporate executive who may not have considered locating in Camden before and is now hearing all of this and saying, well, maybe I should reconsider, what's the pitch? What's the first few things that come to mind that you want that person to really think about when they think of Camden?
Well, the goal is, listen, Camden, we're not just competitive. I always say that, but we're leading. We're in economic resilience, equity, opportunity here. We're high in innovation right now. We're high in production and we're high in entrepreneurship. Every park that we built, every business we support, it's about giving our residents a reason to stay, a reason to thrive and invest back. So with that mindset, you should be a part of it. Come and be a part of it. And believe me, Jeff, there's a lot of people that's wanting to be a part of it right now. And it warms my heart. It makes me proud of the people I work with and the people in this city.
Okay. And finally, before I let you go, I'm just curious about what your priorities are for the next, say, you know, through the end of the year and into next year. What are the biggest challenges you see? What do you need? What do you think you need to work on most intently at this point?
Continue housing growth in our community. I think we've set the stage for more housing growth. Always say, I think we got a great stadium. We got to put more people in the seats.
Okay.
And I give you that example, Jeff. And I think we're working hard to make sure we're creating an environment to get in different stages of housing, affordable housing, mixed use, workforce development housing. I think that's going to be big. And just, just working, man. You figure our housing prices have gone up 40%. And I think that's been attractive.
Yeah.
And as we're rising there, our property taxes are some of the lowest in the state. So it's attractive to come here. And also just continue to work with our private partners and create more innovative ways for them to make an impact. Because I still think we still got some more space, some more open field to run with creating a difference with those type of partnerships.
Okay. That's a good place to leave it then. Mayor Victor Carstarphen of Camden, thank you very much for joining me. I hope you'll come back and give us an update on how things are going.
This has been awesome, Jeff. Thank you for allowing me to talk about a place I love dearly.
Thanks for taking the time. And thank you all for watching. Until next time, stay safe, everyone.